Welcome to the Invincible Innovation Show, the podcast for changemakers. Each week, I talk to the most fascinating entrepreneurs and innovation leaders about innovation, strategy, and design. Hey everyone! Today we're going to talk about mindfulness and leadership. Welcome to Invincible Innovation Live Show. I'm so glad that you're here. I'm Adi Mazor Kario, Product Innovation and Value Creation Expert, and I'll be your host. And today I have a very special guest. Hi, Keren. I don't hear you well right now. I think you're muted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With you.
So Dr. Keren Tsuk is a thought leader in leadership in the 21st century and founder of Wisdom to Lead. And she's a friend, and she's the first interviewee that is living like 5-10 minutes away from me, and I'm still doing it online. So I'm so happy that you're here, Keren. We're live on LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube, and you're so invited to join the discussion and ask questions.
Great.
So this topic is really interesting for me, and I'm sure that the listeners and viewers would love it. So why do you think mindfulness is so important for leadership today?
Because as we all know, we're experiencing a lot of uncertainty, volatility, ambiguity, and we really need to be able to lead in these uncertain times and to have an anchor and to be present in this hectic reality and not to be moved by the change of winds of change, and have a center and always come back to our center and to be able to listen better to ourselves, to our employees, to our customers' needs, to the changing needs of the market. So it's a crucial ability nowadays. If till now it was a nice to have, today, as I see it, it's a critical and crucial element that we all need to embrace and nourish.
Yeah. Do you think that now it is different than like before the pandemic?
Yes, for a lot of reasons. Because, first of all, the pandemic caused us all to feel a lot of anxiety, stress, burnout. So we really need to be able to handle this unpleasant feeling that we're feeling, right? And as leaders, especially to engage our employees from a different place and be there for them, also in the hybrid workplace, to engage them, to see them emotionally, to be there with their struggles. So this is the first challenging things that we all are going through. The second one for leaders, I think, again, it's the ability. We need to be able also to reinvent ourselves, right? We're talking about innovation. So the pandemic caused us all to pause and ask ourselves questions, right? And to fine tune our products, our services, our offering. So we really need to be able to reinvent ourselves, our companies, our offerings. And mindfulness enables us this, because it enables us really to listen to what's needed right now and not be caught out in our stories and in our head, but really be present with what is needed and to act in agile way and really quick.
Yeah. So first I want to tell the listeners that I've been to your course, and it's really interesting and insightful, and I learned a lot. And I think that the most important part, as I see it, is just to be like all focused, because sometimes you're so scattered around and you see so many things that you want to be focused on what is needed from you right now. And sometimes we live in a very, very, very fast world, and now even more. And sometimes we don't have even the time to think about what we want to think about. We're just doing all the time, right? And I think that leaders, especially if we're thinking about the Israeli tech team, which is so fast, they're just doing things, right? And doing things is very important, but sometimes they don't stop and think, even not business-wise. So business-wise, you could do things and sometimes work, something not, decision-making. Even in your life, is it what you want to do? Is it exactly the lifestyle, the pace that you want to live in? Do you meet people talking about that?
First of all, it's according to your other question, it's what coronavirus caused us to do, to pause and ask ourselves really tough questions. And I agree with you, because a lot of us till now worked our life out of automatic pilot. They didn't stop and ask themselves tough questions. is this the life I want to have? Is this the time I want to invest? Is it the right thing for me? Or I'm doing it because of I'm already here and it pays well, so I will stay here. So and this is actually what mindfulness enables us to do, because we usually are really in our doing mode, and the traditional leadership talks about leaders as having the right resource, doing the right stuff. However, the new leadership talks about the ability to pause and really listen deeply to what's needed. So, I talk in my research in my book about holding tensions, and this is a crucial element. After being present as a leader, we need to be able to hold tensions, because the organizational world contains a lot of tensions, right? Between the employees' needs and the organization needs, between the long term and the short term, between quality and speed. There's a lot of tensions, but the most, as I see, the crucial tension that sits beneath all of them is the tension between the doing mode and the doing mode. So it means, as you said, pausing and listening to ourselves and fine-tuning our path in a way. Maybe we need to pivot. Maybe the product that we are so in love with, it's not the right product that our customers need. And then we need to pivot. But if we won't stop to listen to what's needed, we will, like the dogs, run after our tails, but won't achieve anything. So it's a crucial element for leaders and entrepreneurs and people who want to be innovative, to be able to pause and listen. And then we are doing, but we're doing out of being. So it's much more accurate, and we can have much more creative and innovative companies and products. So yes, I think it's a crucial thing. And it's not easy for us, because it feels like a waste of time, going to meet now people and drinking coffee with them. I also heard a new definition talked about serendipity. I'm listening to a book now, right?
Yeah.
So it's this, right? So it enables creativity, going to a community meeting with our employees and only being there for the sake of being, but only by connecting deeper with people and listening to different things, a new thing can emerge that we didn't think about it right now, right? So you talked about the focus. So as I see mindfulness, it's the ability also to be focused, but also to be open-minded. And the ability to move between these two realms enables us to create new things.
Yeah, you mentioned your book, and it's called Mindfully Wise Leadership, The Secret for Today's Leaders. Could you tell us more about it?
So in the book, it's actually based on my PhD. I conducted a 2 years case study in a high-tech company that I'm showing what we need as leaders to do in order to lead mindfully nowadays. How can we be more present and have the courage to be vulnerable? And how I talk about a crucial tool nowadays that I call it a dialogue space. It's actually a little bit what we talked about it. In order to lead innovative and creative companies, is the ability to create a space, to form a space and come to be present with our employees or people we are meeting in, and invite people to show up fully, and be vulnerable. So if I'm the leader that I need to figure out the product that we are handling right now, I can come and say, I feel that we are not on the right path with this product. I don't have the answers right now, but from talking, conversation I had with a few of my colleagues and clients, I think that maybe we need to think of this way. What do you think about it? So it's really inviting people to be present with open mind, open heart, and open will, and enabling a new solution to emerge. But for this, it comes back to the first question. We need to be able to hold the uncertainty, to embrace the uncertainty, and to allow space for it. And once we give space for it and holding the uncertainty without closing it because it's not convenient for us, and new things can emerge. So it's really critical. So in my book, actually, I speak with thought leaders, with leaders from companies. The chief of mindfulness and compassion at LinkedIn not only wrote the foreword to my book, but also was interviewed in the book. And I interviewed different companies about their practicality, how bringing mindfulness to the space, to the corporate space, help engage people in a deeper way, helps create innovation and creativity.
You talk about opening your mind and opening your heart. So open-mindedness makes sense to me because, we're in the business world, we need to think out of the box. It's really, but open heart is less,
scary.
Right? It's scary, and it seems like, is it relevant or not? Like, could you tell me exactly about open-heartedness in business and leadership?
Yes. Look, first of all, let's clarify a few things. Usually I think what we use in the Western world and mainly in business, we learn to close our heart and work mainly from our head, right? Rational cause and effect, because we are scared that the emotions will flood us. However, now that the AI and the technology increases at the speed of light, what will differentiate us as human beings versus the machines? It's our heart, because the threads that connected to our heart is compassion, it's passion, it's empathy, it's all these traits that we need in order to lead creative, innovative companies. So what I invite leaders, and when I'm working with courses, retreats, and in organization, is I invite people to connect to their own sensation, to their inner world. It's the ability to connect to my thoughts, my emotion, my sensation, without closing it, but managing it. So it's the ability to feel, maybe I'm scared right now, maybe I'm excited, maybe I'm confused, and the ability to speak this language. I teach a new language, actually. There's the rational language, but what I found in my research, that we also have the emotional language, that it doesn't get place in the corporate world. So I invite people to speak, but it's interesting because we don't know to name what we are feeling. So it starts by understanding our inner world and understand, okay, what I'm feeling right now. I'm stressed, I feel anxiety, I'm excited, maybe I feel both. Usually we feel both. We feel also excited, but also anxiety, right? So it goes together. But it's the ability to speak our emotion and say, I'm really stressed out right now. Can we have 20 minutes pause and I will come fresher to our next meeting? Or, I'm really confused right now. What can I do with it? But, we need to show up vulnerable, right? Because we don't know how the other person will react. So this is what it means, being able to work with our emotions, because then we show up more completely and we can really enable new solution to emerge. Otherwise, we're doing more of the same, Okay, this is what you did yesterday, let's do it again. We don't take risk. We don't get out of our comfort zone. And it means getting out of our comfort zone and starting creating a new language. And it's challenging for us because we thought afraid it will decrease our ROI, but the opposite is the right.
Yeah. Do you think it's related to the fact that most of the leadership in the world, like 99% out of it, is male?
Yes, I think for sure. I think we're also going through a transformation right now, and we are connecting more to the feminine side within ourselves. I must be honest and say, I was in the army, in the mandatory service, a sniper instructor, and I was connected to my masculine qualities like determination, focus, achieving goals. But after I went out of the army, I understood that I need to connect to my feminine qualities within me: compassion, creativity, empathy. So this is the transformation we're all going nowadays. It's the ability to connect to our feminine qualities because they are so needed nowadays. It's the ability to listen really to each other without offering the solution, but being able to hold the emotions and only be there for the employee, even saying, I see you struggling right now. How can I be here for you? Without offering what would you do next? Because it's not convenient for us to feel these feelings. So yes, I think we're heading toward the new leadership. It's actually leadership that connects deeper to our qualities, the feminine qualities that we let go of. So we're reconnecting to them now.
I see. And we call what you're doing is mindfulness based leadership. And we're talking about mindfulness in many ways. And I feel like it's a buzzword, and I want to hear your definition. And is it like mindfulness usually comes with meditation? Yes, no? How do you see that term?
Great. So first of all, the classical definition for mindfulness of Dr. John Kabat-Zinn, it's the ability to be present here and now intentionally in a non-judgmental way. Like when I'm here with you now, I'm fully with you, with my mind, with my thought, with my emotions and feelings. However, my definition to mindfulness, it's the ability to be aware of an experience that we are going through. It can be a thought that runs through my mind, and emotions that I'm feeling right now, and sensation, a process that I'm going through without being without being managed by it in no judgmental way. So it means, like, for example, if I'm I will give you an example that I usually give because it's really explained. One of my business trips, I had a challenging trip, and I was with a colleague there, and we had 2 hours to create a presentation to our client. And while we were making the presentation, I asked them a really naive question regarding the structure of the meeting. And as I asked him, he lost it and talked to me in a really offended way. So I was really offended. And then and I didn't understand what's happened there, right? Because someone screams at you, you don't understand what's happened. And then we were both smart and we said, okay, let's meet in an hour. And once I went out of the situation, I sat back from the situation, beyond the unpleasant feeling that I felt, I tried to connect to the broader picture and understand what's happened here. And then I understood. I understood that when I'm stressed out, I like to ask questions. It helps me feel in control. And I understood that when he's stressed out, it contains the emotion, contains what's happening then, like a volcano, the stress managing, and this is why he talked to me in an unpleasant manner. And then I have a choice. I had a choice. I came back and went 1 hour, and we wanted to succeed with the presentation. So I decided to be professional and to do what we need in order to succeed. And only after the presentation to sit and speak about what's happening and to coordinate expectations. So we succeeded also with the presentation, also in a paradoxical way. The tough conversation that we had increased the trust between us because we talked about the way we act out with each other and put boundaries. So for me, this is a great example of being mindful, because at the same time, I felt the unpleasant feeling, but I didn't let them manage me, right? I connected to this feeling, connected to the broader picture, and then added choice. So as Viktor Frankl described mindfulness, he defines mindfulness as the space between the stimulation and the response. As we broaden this space, we have a free choice to choose our behaviors, right? So for me, this is mindfulness. Mindfulness is the ability to be connected to our own private experience and at the same time to the broader picture. The ability to move between these two realms and choose our behavior, this is a mindfulness state of mind. So again, and it's important to say that it's not that I disconnected from my experience, right? I didn't disconnect from my unpleasant experience and continued business as usual with my mind. No, I decided to manage my emotions, and I understood that it's not a good time to open a discussion now because you can't handle it, so I will do it afterwards. So I did connect to my emotion. However, I didn't let them manage me, because usually when someone shouted at us, what do we do automatically? Fight or flight, right? Shout back or set back from the situation. So and this is what comes back to what I said in the beginning, the ability to connect to our complete humanity experience, however, being able to manage it. And this is actually what mindfulness enables us to connect to various kinds of emotion that we feel in the moment, but to work with them and not being managed by them. So this is, for me, a crucial element nowadays.
So how is mindfulness really in your own life, in your own, like as a person, as the mother, as a businesswoman? How do you connect mindfulness to that?
So you ask about meditation. So
yourself.
Yeah. So I myself meditating every day for 30 minutes and going through retreats by my own. So I'm finding the time to pause. I really need this time. It's what fuels me. If I don't meditate one day, I feel that I need it. For me, it's like a cigarette, because it's amazing.
Yeah.
I'm addicted to it, and it's a good addiction. However, I offer really people who want to, so I use it daily. I can use it even between meetings. Now, before we started the podcast, at the time, I took 5 minutes to meditate and to put my intention, to be present when I'm coming to this conversation. So I use it even 5 minutes between meetings. Before I come home from work, I can sit in the car for 5 minutes, take a few breaths, and come open. And even going to nature, taking 10 minutes to nature, I'm walking in nature, feeling the winds, smelling the flowers. This is also kind of meditation. So you don't need, if you ask me about people that are listening, if they need to embrace my meditation, I highly recommend. But you can do it in different ways. And when I facilitate my courses and retreats, people are acknowledging that actually they have their own way to meditate, even if it's not a classical meditation. So they go swimming. Swimming, it's also kind of being in the moment, clearing your mind and being present. Maybe jogging, maybe going to nature. So you need to find the time that you're pausing. And if you reflect on it, you will see that the moments in the day that you are really pausing and not in your mind and only present.
Yeah. So what do you see when you talk to the leaders coming to your retreats and courses, and what is the biggest challenges that leaders face today, and what do they need to know in order to succeed?
As I see, the big challenge nowadays is, again, to be present with the unknown, with uncertainty, to connect to our emotions, to be able to be there for our employees, and dare not to know the answers, because we really taught as leaders that we need to provide all the answers, but we can't, and we don't have them. So it's really the ability to be in the uncertainty. If it's one-on-one speaking with our employees that we have a conflict or we need to have a tough conversation, it's being able to be there. Mindfulness is not having all a rosy picture all day long. No, sometimes you need to handle a tough conversation, but you dare to show up present and you dare to feel uncomfortable and maybe anxiety regarding this conversation, but to show up, although this fear that you have. So it's being there with your employees and really listening and not knowing what will emerge out of the conversation, but enabling space and create space to be able to show up and listen and be there for them. So, and I think communication, it's also before the coronavirus, let's be transparent. It's the main challenge for leaders, and as I see it, for individuals to communicate, to be in a confrontation, to say what they feel, what they see. Because, a lot of people are thinking, if I will say that, how they will think about me. And communicating from presence is daring to say what you feel, what you see, being present. And sometimes people won't resonate well with them, and that's okay. But it's not being attached to the results. It's being it's being clear and honest and frank with yourself. And once you show up and bring things, and maybe people won't like it, but it will resonate within them. And maybe it will create change in the culture and the company. And in the end of the day, companies and organizations want people innovative, right? Creative. And this is part of the creative process, right? Daring to show up and say what you see, even if there's not a consensus, but being disruptive. So this is what we need to be as leaders. We need to be courage to show up fully, to be vulnerable, and to enable our employees and our culture more vulnerability. And to create a safe place, because then people will really bring the best selves and their added value, and the company can be in the cutting edge, as I see it.
Yeah. You mentioned communication, and I see like there's two sides of communication. Once you're talking, once you're listening. And I think that listening is even more important, especially today. And I would love to hear what you think, especially when we're online. So in the past, you had so many hints of what actually a person is saying. And right now, you only have his face and the words that he's saying. When you had people in front of you, you could see that maybe their leg is moving, or maybe they're not uncomfortable. So many additional information for this communication. And I think that listening is really underrated in general, and especially right now. How can you help people to listen better from their employees, their teams, their whatever?
So I couldn't agree more with you. It's really a crucial element, listening, because as I said, we didn't learn to listen. We learned to talk, to show up, and I'm thinking about sales people. There was the push and versus the pull. Once they taught them to sell by pushing, okay, this is the product, let's push it to our clients. And then they develop the pull, ask questions, the customer, see what his needs. And from this place, you can offer him the solution. And this is the successful salesperson that are pulling. And 50% of the time are listening. And the after 50% are asking him questions. Did it from heart rate. They researching about sales. So I agree with you that it's really a crucial element and we need to nourish it. So what I offer leaders to do, first of all, when you start a meeting with your employees, start with a checkup question. How are you showing up to this meeting between 1 and 10? How are you showing up? So maybe a person can say, I'm stressed out because I didn't figure out something with my kid, or I don't know, whatever. But once they will put the thoughts and be present with it, maybe they will be able to let it go. And maybe they can see, the leader can see that people are not tuned on now, so let's postpone it in 10 minutes and come back to the meeting even more present. So this is one tool that I offer leaders to show up, to ask people how they're showing, and enabling people to show up, speak more during the conversation, and hearing their thoughts and hearing their feeling regarding something. So it's mainly listening, as you said. It's mainly inviting people to share their thought, their feeling, their ideas, and it's even needed more nowadays, because when we are online, yes, you're right, we can't see everything that we can see before. However, I think if we practice it, we can see also online people, how they react, how they with us or not. If you see someone going away, so invite them back. You can say, Jack, I see that you're not with us right now. Something bothering you? Do you want to share with us? You need time off. Engage them during the conversation.
Yeah. Although when you mention it, because it is technical and a bit, it's not natural, usual, to have these squares on the screen. Sometimes things that you could have said in a meeting room is different right now. So it needs so much really understanding and empathy of people that I would say that many of the leaders could be overwhelmed by the thinking of, I need to really be empathic to all of these people, understand them, in addition to really understanding what they're saying, the practical part of the discussion. And I think it's really hard even more because we don't have these gaps, coming to the meeting room, just walking to the meeting room, or going to have coffee before the meeting room, so after going outside, and then you have someone like 5 minutes afterwards, you just catch him. Like, it's like all these like normal, usual situations that we don't have, and sometimes these are the crucial parts of the discussion. Just to understand that somebody is going outside with another thing that he didn't have time to say, or a feeling that he wants to just to let you know that it's stressing you out, just to know that this is what needs to be done, whatever. So, and I think it's even more important right now because people are going from meeting to meeting to meeting, and they don't have these buffers, right?
So I really agree with you, and yes, it can be devastating that you don't have the time to breathe and you're like on autopilot. So I invite also to create the companies that are doing like a coffee meeting, 10 open meeting, opening the Zoom for people to connect, only to drink coffee and speak, the physical spaces that we had, to do it online. So to find these places, to create these places, to connect as human beings, not functionally, as understanding how we're going through this day. And as you said, it's really important. So, and yes, there's a new definition, things that going on right there. It's a compassion fatigue, because people also, mainly the people who are handling people need to be really attuned to the employees, to the staff, and it's tiring. It's harder because you need to invest much more of yourself in the day-to-day. And this is why I think also pausing during the day and having this 5 minutes, breathing, taking the inside, letting go of your thoughts, taking some relaxing time, can fuel you and come more attuned to the next meeting. And then you can see this employee that sits on the side and really struggling, and you can catch his eyes and talk to him. It will create you be more open. When we practice more mindfulness in part of it, meditation in the day-to-day, we actually increase our ability to have a beginner's mind. Beginner's mind is the ability to come fresh to a situation and see new things differently and be open-minded. So it's really require us to be more open-minded nowadays and open-hearted, right? To see if someone's struggling, if someone having tough times nowadays, how can to be there for him? And it requires a lot of energy versus in the past that, okay, it was a natural, right? As you said, in the meeting, our formal meeting, that we met each other and we talk at these small talks and let it go.
Yeah. Do you think it's related to tradition and cultures within societies. So there, some of the cultures are much more closed, and some of them are much more open. We come from an Israeli culture; everything is open. Everybody tells you everything, and if they wouldn't tell you, you would know it from someone who knows them. So it wouldn't work differently, right? But what would be like in a different? I'm just imagining a situation in Europe. They are much more closed and closed, not closed, and
In
they don't
Asia.
share. They don't share their ideas and surely not their feelings.
Yeah, so it's leading. First of all, I agree with you. It's also in Asia. They don't speak. We are in Israel. We know what is it to be honest and frank. Sometimes too much, right?
Yeah.
To say what we feel and think. So we need to create and educate this new culture. So it's leading by example, and this is why we need only one leader to change the culture, to change the patterns. So if I'm a leader and or manager and starting a meeting now with a in Europe or in Asia that people don't speak, I need to be able to there, and we need courage to do it, to show up fully and say, I'm going through a tough, challenging time right now. So I'm sorry if I can't be full here. I have a struggle at home that it's not fixed right now, and this is my situation right now. Okay, so it starts to begin with the managers, and once a leader will do it, his employee will feel comfortable doing it too. So it's something we need to start by leading. I had one senior manager that went through my course, and beyond the coronavirus that we all had the challenging time, she also got a divorce, a really tough divorce. And during the course, we talked about vulnerability and showing up as leaders fully. And after the course, she decided they didn't know anything about a divorce and what she went through this year. And after the course, she decided to share with them and open up and tell them what she went through during this process. And she came back to me and she told me, wow, it was amazing. I said, what? She said, the minute that I shared what I went through, first of all, they were really empathic toward me, my employees. And beyond that, it gave legitimization for them to show up fully. And she said, one of my employees told me that they really feel lonely. And people dare to show up and bring their feelings. And they did not need to close it, only listening to each other and being there. So it's created a deeper connection. And from this place, you can do anything. So, but you see, we need one person to change, right? The process, the pattern, to dare to show up. And once you do it, people really, it's inspiring.
Yeah, I would just imagine some people listening, they might be like a team manager or a leader of a company listening to the podcast and saying, wow, that's my nightmare, that my employees would come and tell me their emotions, right? How will I handle that? Like, and would that make them like, that's my excuse to working less because I'm depressed right now?
First of all, I can understand that it's their nightmare because, as managers, we want to achieve our goals. Don't let me know. I don't have time for it. So, yes, as we said, first of all, we need to have the energy and capacity to be there. It's not automatic behavior, and we need to grow toward this place. However, in a paradoxical way, once we will be able to be the present with the employees, only listening to them without solving the problem even, they will be even more engaged. And the ROI will increase because they will feel seen. And people nowadays want to feel seen. So, it was amazing. I had a consulting with one of my managers, and being honest, it was like 1.5 hours. And Adi, I think I said only 2 sentences during the meeting. I only listened. And at the end of the day, the meeting, he told me, wow, it was a great meeting. I had so much insight. And I said, okay, that's right, what I'm teaching. That's right. That's a good thing. Because sometimes people only need us to hold the space and be there for them and enable them to process and give them legitimation to feel what they're feeling without closing it and acting upon this emotion. But when you give spaciousness to this place, it can transform and people will move on, but they will remember that you were with them. So it's you understand what I'm saying about the paradox?
Yeah. I understand what you're saying, but it seems that it's frightening just to think that people will say, okay, today I'm depressed, I cannot work. Like tomorrow I had something with my kids.
Okay. This is really important. Yes, it's a good thing that you are saying, because this is the fact that I'm empathic toward my employee and listening to him. It doesn't mean that I don't need to be demanding. Okay. And it also doesn't mean it's the right solution for him. Okay. I understand you're struggling. I understand part of you is struggling right now. Okay. Let's see how the other part can achieve the goal. What can help you to achieve the goal? It doesn't mean that if he's going through a tough time right now. It's interesting because one of the leaders I was working with actually shared with us this situation. He said, I'm so empathic toward them and they're coming and crying and it's very challenging for them and I'm letting them not to do anything. And I asked him, do you really think it's the right solution for them not to do anything right now, even if they're struggling? Sometimes when we are going through a tough times and challenging times, being in the doing mode and doing things can increase our capacity and resilience. So it's not a good thing not to do anything. So the fact that we are giving place to our emotions doesn't mean we need to stop everything and to be depressed now. No, we can feel various emotions. We can feel at the same time anxiety, stress, excitement, whatever comes. Okay, so it's okay. I'm listening to you. I see that part of you is now really stressed. How can I help you with this? Okay, so taking this into account, how you can handle your day now with this struggle. What can help you to manage the day? So maybe start with meeting your kid right now, being with him for 1 hour, and then afterwards take the 3 hours to finish what you needed to do. So it's holding the tensions. Okay, it's about holding tension. It's not okay, delving into this unpleasant feeling and being depressed and not doing anything. This is the essence of holding tension, being in the being mode, but from this place, how we can do the right act in order to achieve our goals.
Yeah. I think that what we said about this tension is like the flexibility of doing things with different aspects of our lives, and we feel it even more right now because our personal life and our business life is so all together, and people are working much more from home or partially from home right now, and they need to divide their attention between so many things that even if they do want to be business always, as always, they cannot really do it. Like you just mentioned, take an hour to your kid. It's not like in the past, go out of the office and do something. The kid is here and he demands attention, right? So the capacity to do both is really hard for people.
And this is actually what mindfulness enables us to manage ourselves better, right? So, okay, now I'm sitting 1 hour, now I'm taking 15 minutes to drink coffee with my kid at home to be with them, and then I'm going back to my conversation. So it's being able to manage our time and to integrate and balance, find the right balance between home and professional lives. And we even work more nowadays at home, right? We work longer hours, so you can find the right balance for you.
Yeah. The fact that we're working more is something that I guess most people are aware of, that they thought that they would work these like 9 hours, 9 hours at the home, and then it will be a bit more flexible. They could do like the laundry in the middle and that's it. But actually what happens is they're working more hours because there is no limit. It's not like I'm driving out of the office, I'm going back home, and now it's like overtime. And what would you tell these people? Like it's always working.
I will tell them, be aware to your time and to yourself, and do stuff that fulfill you also, to fuel you. So if it's going to the gym or going to meet a friend for a coffee, but find this time. Otherwise, you will be burned out because we can't manage all work and life work being for the kids. We need also time for ourselves to get energized. And now they're also talking about the 4-day movement, right, of working. So it even increases, I think in the long term, we will find it increases our productivity, because once we are coming fuel and energized, and we are more productive, more efficient, more creative. So it's not about how much time are you investing, it's the quality of the time. But what I offer, it's also for myself, to be honest. I sometimes find myself burn out and I need a little bit of air. Don't let it go. Be aware of what fuels you and make the time for it. Even, when I'm working with leaders, I'm telling them, put a half-hour meeting with yourself in the calendar. And they say, what, are you go nuts? What I'm going to meet myself? I don't have time for it. But I say, yes, it's important. Even sitting in front of the sea, drinking coffee and listening to the waves. So it's also a creative time time to be with ourselves and pause. So this is, I think, a crucial element that we need to do nowadays and not lose ourselves. We're talking about compassion, but it starts with self-compassion, right? First of all, be attentive to yourself and your needs, and from this place, you'll be able to be attentive to others. Otherwise, you won't be able to be attentive to others.
Yeah. It reminds me of something that I heard. I don't know if it's saying or not, that if I want to chop a tree, I would dedicate like 95% just to sharpen the axe instead of just doing it all the time. And I think it relates to what you're saying, that sometimes when you have a clear plan, it's much more important than delivering and doing things. You just need to think clearly what you want to do. And I feel that in our, especially in Israel, but not only in Israel, you see it in the US too and other countries, that people are running all the time and they're not calculating where to. They're just running, right? And it's
It's
so
so true.
important.
It's crucial. This is actually what I'm doing in my retreats. I'm creating space for like 3-4 days to be present and clear our minds and really listen deeply to ourselves. And it's amazing. One of the managers who attended my retreat, he came when he was like 57. He wanted to know, he was a high senior manager in the high tech industry, and he wanted what he would do when he would be grown up. And only and only we have a long life. And only by creating this space and listening and pausing, in the third day he came to me, he said, wow, I can go home now. I said, what happened? He said, I was struggling in the meditation, struggling, and then it hit me. It came from within myself. I understood what is my next step in life, because he had a clear mindset. He created space for nothing, to be in the uncertainty, to really listen. And yes, I really think it's crucial and invite people to dare to create space for themselves. Even if it looks like a waste of time, I have a lot of stuff on my plate now. No, dare to clear your mind and prioritize what's really important for you. And then you really will put your energy in the right place. And you will also be fulfilled, right? Because you will do what you love and not only what you need to do.
So I'm just curious, what would he be when he grows up? He would leave high tech and be a gardener or something?
He finally want to teach, to be in the teaching area. Yeah, so that's amazing. But I think he combined it actually with the teaching regarding the high tech something industry. There's a lot of places that you can take your calling. So yes, but he really took it to the next step. So it was really touching, to see a person really listening to himself, and then the insight comes, and the wisdom come, and the creativity part, and not, okay, I will do the same because this is only what I know. No, but because you feel, sometimes we feel something uncomfortable anymore, and we continue without listening to it, right? We're closing it, and we're doing more of the same, and we're tired and exhausted, and we don't enjoy the way. So I think we also won't succeed there. So we really need to be able to pause and fine tune our way in our products and
yeah. I think that in business, it's a bit like, as we said, like exciting and frightening at the same time, to find out that maybe I'm not in the right place. I'm making lots of money. I have this position. He's a higher manager. And then finding out like, yeah, I want to do something else, although I would make more money there. I just imagined that in the education, he would not make as much money as in high tech, but just to listen to yourself and be aware of it. And people are saying, yeah, but I have more money. I can go like 3 times a year to abroad to have a vacation. I have a really nice car, all of that. And I think that sometimes they're like in a cage of gold, just thinking this way about their lives. And time passes, and then they get to be, pension.
Yes, in the end of life, I think when we finish, Steve Jobs talked about it. At the end of the day, it's not the possession that you have, it's the connection that you have, the meaningfulness that you had in your life. So ask yourself, how do you want to see the rest of your life? And running after the money, it's interesting because we had a conversation about it yesterday. I think it's a mean. Money is a mean for quality life. But at the end of the day, part of quality life is fulfilling your calling, doing something that is meaningful for you. Okay, so you will have less in the bank, but you will have much more in your heart. So at the end of the day, it's pros and cons, and whatever you prioritize, what's more important for you. But once people feel inside of them, yes, it's frightening. It's frightening to get in order that we are not on the right track and we need to pivot now. We don't like it. We like to be in a comfort zone, but it's rewarding once we dare, take courage, and find a way to do it. It can be a few steps. It don't need to be one step. We will be more fulfilled. And I think it's important. I think this is also what coronavirus actually got us to think, rethink our ways, rethink our life, rethink where we want to invest our time and what creates us joy and happiness and meaningfulness, and understood the connection with the loved ones, right? And with family and friends. It's important, and to do something that I like and not waste my time in a job that pays me but my soul is burning. So it's a choice, yeah. And this is actually what mindfulness is about. It's about a free choice, choosing our own behavior instead of acting upon automatic patterns and behaviors.
Yeah. So it's been really, really interesting. I want to thank you for your time. Where could people hear more about you and connect with you and read the book, of course?
So the book is on Amazon, Mindfully Wise Leadership, The Secret of Today's Leaders. They can find me on LinkedIn, Keren Tsuk, TSUK, and on my website, www.wisdomtolead.co. It was a pleasure, Adi.
Yeah, I really enjoyed our talk. It's always interesting, and we should have coffee, like not like this. We should do it as we need. And
we should.
And we will. And I know Keren, before we were connected business-wise, and I went to her a course, and it's always a pleasure talking to you, Keren. So thank you for your time.
Thank you, Adi. Have a good day.
And to all of you change makers out there, thank you for joining us. And if you want to learn more about my work, just go and visit invincibleinnovation.com, and I'll see you next week with another innovative, insightful talk. See ya.
I'm Adi Mazor Kario, and you've been listening to the Invincible Innovation podcast. Make sure to visit our website, invincibleinnovation.com, where you can learn more about our programs and my book, Innovating Through Chaos. I'll be waiting for you next week in our next episode. Thank you for listening.